Welcome back, YouTube universe. Too Much Gig Guy here. And if you're new to the channel, I'm here to share reviews on pieces of gear from my massive inventory that I may or may not use. Today we're going to be talking about the Kelty Backroads Shelter. This piece of gear caught my eye after spending a few days overland east in Virginia this past year, just baking in the sun while set up in an open field, just wishing I had a better shelter. I did have a tent, which was great at night, but really wish I had something during the day to sit under. I could have used a tarp setup, but the wind was pretty wild at times, and it really provides no privacy. We did have a couple of groups that were sitting next to us, and that really wouldn't have done much for us. So after researching some shelters, the Kelty Backroads was my final pick. This thing is great for providing shelter, privacy, and I guess you could say a quick home while traveling, camping, or even a quick day trip to the park. Setup is fairly simple. It seems to work well in bad weather and better than setting up a full tent, even a tarp in my opinion. So some quick specs for you. This thing can connect to most vehicles on the side or the rear. Has adjustable sidewalls, allowing you to stake them out if rain shows up. Large entryway door with zippered mesh windows for breathability. It is floorless, so it kind of gives you that tarp-like feel. And the secondary roof rack attachment straps as an option. It's 68D polyester and has fiberglass poles, 3-season tent, and it fits what they say is 6 individuals. I would say that's definitely the max, probably more like 4 comfortably. It does come with 2 main poles and 1 brow pole. That's 11 pounds, 9 ounces with a peak height of 80 to 108 inches. Just like a tent, it's rounded at the tops of different heights. I'm 5'9", so I fit in there pretty comfortably, plenty of head space. So with all that being said, let me show you a quick setup and give you a better idea of what this thing looks like. Well, let's go. So it comes in a nice little bag you can zip up, and as you can see, that contains the poles themselves, which are also in a bag. Imagine that. Alright, let me speed up the video here so we're not wasting time and getting caught up in how amazing I am at setting up this shelter, because trust me, it's amazing. But not really, as I cut out a lot of sections of me checking the directions. And yes, that's right folks, there will be a guest appearance by a dog. So get your popcorn out, because it's going to be a doozy. And as you can see, all 3 poles are together, 2 for the main body and 1 for the brow. Next, I laid out the shelter, and honestly, this took me a minute to get it right, not knowing what was what. As I promised, guest appearance by dog. Thought it was funny, just how I stopped and looked so interested. So I had to, make it special. I'm gonna see what's going on here. It's alright, I'm trying to figure it out myself, so. Here I just laid out the poles in an X shape. Looked for the slots, which you can see up close here. And then jumping ahead, since that actually took some time, but poles were inserted into the slots and clipped on like most other tents you'd probably put together. Now I did slow this part of the video down just so you could see maybe how difficult it is to put this up, or maybe how easy it is, depending on how you look at it. I found it pretty easy for one person to do. Next, we put the 3rd pole in, which is the brow. This was a little different, as it just fits into some grommet holes basically, and I took it down just because it was a little easier to do. So I recommend leaving it down until all the poles are installed. I was a little worried about the flexibility as well, because at one point it just felt like, or even looked like, that the pole was going to snap, as you can see from my facial reactions here. Here's what it looks like attached at the top. I believe it had the buckles there that would attach to your actual roof rack if needed for some more security. Next is attaching it to the tires, which is just a loop that buckles together. Also can be adjusted, as you can see here. They use the cheap typical metal stakes to stake down your door flaps and also your guidelines to keep everything from blowing away. In a few here you'll see how windy it was if you couldn't tell already by the sound and also by the visual. Definitely have some movement here, but it didn't move much at all, so I guess at this point it was okay, but you can see it lifting a little there, so I would recommend staking out the guidelines if it's a windy day for you. Entryway, which is on both sides, roll up like most tent shelter flaps and also hook into the typical loops. Plenty of space, but what I really like is the screened window here, letting some light and breaking up the lovely blue hue going on, also letting in a nice breeze. Plenty of headspace. I'm 5'9", probably had about a good maybe foot or two above me as well. And the last feature here that I love is the front door entrance. This allows you to have both sides, the flaps staked out and closed, leaving some good privacy if you want it. It's a very wide opening here, and even tells you, as you can see at the bottom there, hey, watch your step, so you aren't tripping headfirst into the side of your vehicle, leaving yourself with a lovely camp concussion for the remainder of your day. And that about does it. So at this point I was able to sit down in my chair, break out my little table, and enjoy a hot lunch in the confines of the Backroads Shelter.